Are you spending significant money on magnesium supplements and still not feeling the difference in your energy, sleep, or muscle relaxation? Many people assume that because magnesium is essential, the fastest solution must be an expensive pill. Yet the surprising truth is that a simple, inexpensive food can deliver a deeper, more effective magnesium benefit than most premium formulas. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Magnesium is required for more than 300 biological reactions that drive energy production, nerve communication, muscle relaxation, blood sugar balance, and stress regulation. It is foundational for metabolic health and long-term vitality. However, most of the magnesium in your body is not floating in the bloodstream. It is stored inside your muscle tissue, bones, and cells. That means a standard blood test often looks normal even when the rest of your body is quietly running low. Because of this, many individuals assume the answer is simply to buy a stronger or more expensive supplement. But the body does not always absorb magnesium tablets efficiently. Much of what you take never reaches the tissues that need it most. This is where the misunderstanding begins. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body is a dry sponge, and magnesium is water. When water is poured in slowly and naturally, the sponge absorbs it deeply. When water is poured too quickly, most of it runs off the surface before the sponge can take it in. This is the difference between magnesium from whole foods and magnesium from many supplements. Food delivers magnesium in a steady, biologically familiar form that your tissues readily take up. What research consistently shows is that dietary magnesium plays a central role in metabolic balance. It influences how effectively your cells respond to insulin, how efficiently your mitochondria make energy, how your nervous system regulates tension, and how your body recovers at night. Magnesium-rich foods often contain co-nutrients, fiber, and natural compounds that enhance absorption and allow magnesium to enter cells more effectively than isolated pills. In today's talk, we are going to explore why this matters for your energy, your metabolic stability, and your long-term aging process. We will look at the physiology behind magnesium, the real reason deficiency is so common, and why a $2 food can work 4 times better than the supplements lining store shelves. We will also uncover the deeper root cause behind magnesium depletion, including stress hormone fluctuations, insulin dynamics, and cellular transport mechanisms. When people hear the phrase magnesium deficiency, they often imagine a simple nutritional gap. Yet the real story is far more complex and far more interesting. What is happening inside your body is not just a shortage of magnesium coming in, but a deeper issue of how your cells accept, store, and utilize this mineral. This is why that inexpensive whole food outperforms expensive supplements. It is not because the pill is useless. It is because your biology is far more selective and intelligent than most supplement labels acknowledge. To understand this clearly, picture your cells as small engines. Magnesium is the ignition key that allows those engines to turn energy into action. Without magnesium, enzymes slow, mitochondria produce less energy, and the nervous system becomes more reactive. People often feel this as tension, fatigue, or disrupted sleep, even when they cannot explain why. The key point is that your cells require magnesium in a steady, biologically familiar form, not a quick flood of isolated minerals. Here is what research consistently shows. When magnesium arrives in the body through natural food structures, it is accompanied by fibers, natural acids, and plant-based compounds that act like guides, helping magnesium cross cell membranes more efficiently. Supplements often cannot mimic this synergy. They deliver magnesium in a sharp peak, but without the companions that help the mineral settle into the tissues where it actually matters. That is the biological reason a simple food source creates a deeper, longer-lasting effect. Another important factor is that your body regulates mineral uptake differently depending on the source. When magnesium is part of a whole food matrix, The digestive tract slows absorption just enough to allow a natural, even flow. When magnesium is delivered as a pill, the body sometimes perceives it as an excess and limits uptake. This is not a flaw, it is a protective design. Your biology is wired to trust nutrients that come in as part of food, because that is the environment it evolved to understand. Here is where people often become frustrated. They take supplement after supplement and still feel depleted. But the issue is not the dose, it is the delivery. Magnesium from whole foods behaves like a key shaped perfectly for the lock. Magnesium from many supplements is the same key, but with edges that do not quite match. The lock may turn a little, but rarely fully. What the science of metabolism continues to confirm is that cellular magnesium is what determines how you feel, how you recover, how you manage stress, and how your metabolic system maintains stability. Dietary magnesium reaches cellular pathways more effectively, which is why that simple $2 food can outperform high-priced formulas. If you are finding this helpful so far and want more science-based clarity delivered in this calm, evidence-driven way, consider subscribing. I share content like this every day. One of the most misunderstood reasons for widespread magnesium depletion has nothing to do with how much you consume. It has everything to do with how modern life alters your internal chemistry. Your stress hormones, your metabolic load, and the transport systems that move minerals in and out of your cells are constantly shaping your magnesium status. This is why so many people feel the signs of low magnesium even though they believe they are eating well or taking supplements. The loss is happening silently, long before you ever notice the effects. Here is what is taking place inside your body. Magnesium and stress hormones are tightly linked in a two-way relationship. When stress rises, the body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones prepare you for action, but they also cause magnesium to shift out of the tissues and into circulation for immediate use. The body then loses a portion of that magnesium through the kidneys. This is entirely natural in short bursts, but in a world of constant deadlines, interruptions, and digital stimulation, the stress response remains active far longer than it should. The result is a steady drain on your magnesium reserves. Another important piece of this puzzle involves cellular transporters. These are tiny molecular gates that decide how much magnesium enters a cell and how much leaves. When insulin levels fluctuate, when inflammation rises, or when the body faces oxidative stress, these gates change their behavior. Some close too tightly, preventing magnesium from entering. Others open too widely, allowing magnesium to drift out. This means that a person can consume plenty of magnesium, but still feel deficient because the mineral never stays where it needs to be. This is one of the major reasons supplements often disappoint people. A pill can provide the mineral, but it cannot fully correct the internal environment that decides whether the mineral stays or leaves. Your stress hormones, your metabolic state, and your cellular environment determine far more about magnesium balance than the supplement bottle ever does. Whole foods interact with these systems differently. Their nutrient profile, fiber content, and natural compounds help create the conditions in which minerals remain in the body instead of being flushed out quickly. There is also a deeper metabolic connection. Magnesium plays a central role in how cells respond to insulin. When insulin sensitivity declines, the kidneys tend to release more magnesium, and the cells become less efficient at holding on to what remains. This creates a cycle. Low magnesium worsens metabolic function, and impaired metabolic function reduces magnesium retention. Many individuals are caught in this cycle without realizing that stress, poor sleep, and metabolic imbalance are shaping their magnesium levels more than their diet alone. When people say they feel tension, fatigue, or a kind of background anxiety they cannot explain, they are often feeling the effects of this biochemical loop. The symptoms are not random. They are a reflection of magnesium constantly being mobilized, burned through, and lost, even when intake appears adequate. There is a common belief that if a blood test shows normal magnesium, everything must be fine. Yet this is one of the most misleading assumptions in modern health. The truth is that blood magnesium tells you almost nothing about how much magnesium your cells actually have. This misunderstanding is one of the main reasons individuals continue feeling tired, tense, or mentally foggy, even after taking supplements. The issue is not what the blood test reflects. The issue is what the blood test cannot show. Here is what is really happening inside your body. Less than a tiny fraction of your total magnesium circulates in the bloodstream. The overwhelming majority lives inside your muscles, bones, and cellular structures. Your body protects this small amount of circulating magnesium with incredible precision because the heart, nerves, and essential enzymes depend on it. Even if your tissues are running dangerously low, your body will pull magnesium out of storage to keep that blood level stable. This means the blood number stays normal while your deeper reserves are quietly declining. This is why so many individuals feel the effects of low magnesium even when laboratory tests seem reassuring. Their muscles may be contracting more tightly, their nervous system may be more reactive, their sleep depth may be shallower, their metabolism may be less flexible. These are signs of cellular magnesium depletion, not blood depletion. The blood is simply the last place magnesium will appear low because the body protects that number as a matter of survival. Scientific research continues to refine this distinction. Cellular magnesium influences mitochondrial energy production, electrical balance in nerve cells, and the smooth functioning of the cardiovascular system. When cellular levels decline, the body shifts into a compensatory mode. Muscles hold more tension. Stress hormones rise more quickly. Insulin response becomes less efficient. None of these changes show up in the blood test, yet they shape how you feel throughout the day. Here is another way to visualize it. Picture your cells as small factories powered by magnesium. If the factories are running low on their internal fuel supply, production slows. The exterior of the building may look perfectly fine, just as your blood test may appear normal. But inside those factories, machinery is moving more slowly, workers are becoming fatigued, and communication lines are less precise. Over time, the entire system becomes less resilient. This is why relying solely on supplements often fails to correct the underlying issue. A pill may raise the amount of magnesium passing through the bloodstream, but that does not guarantee it enters the factory. Cellular transport, metabolic conditions, and accompanying nutrients determine whether magnesium reaches the interior where it is needed. Whole foods, with their natural cofactors, often create a more favorable environment for magnesium to enter and remain in the cells. People often describe a subtle sense of internal stress, restlessness, or a feeling that the body is working harder than it should. These sensations are not imagined. They are reflections of cellular magnesium running low while the bloodstream maintains its carefully regulated appearance of normality. Understanding this difference allows you to interpret your body's signals more accurately and prevents the discouragement that comes when normal tests do not match your lived experience. Up to now, we have explored why magnesium from real food behaves differently inside the body than magnesium from even the most expensive supplement brands. Now we can finally connect this science to the foods themselves. What surprises most people is that the most effective sources are not exotic powders or premium health products. They are simple, whole foods that cost just a few dollars and yet outperform many supplement forms by delivering magnesium in the structure your biology naturally prefers. Here is what is happening inside your body when you consume these foods. They provide magnesium wrapped in a natural matrix of fibers, plant-based acids, and phytonutrients that guide the mineral into your cells. These companions act like a delivery team, opening the molecular doors that must allow magnesium to pass. This is the reason a $2 food can be 4 times more impactful than a $30 bottle of tablets. The foods that consistently rise to the top in research include pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, almonds, and leafy greens such as spinach and chard. They are inexpensive, widely available, and extraordinarily dense in magnesium. But the true value is not merely their magnesium content. It is the way they deliver it. Seeds are especially fascinating from a biological perspective. They contain the stored nutrients a plant needs to begin life. In other words, they hold a concentrated package of minerals, natural oils, and biochemical helpers that the developing plant requires for early growth. When humans consume these seeds, we receive that same synergistic package. Magnesium comes paired with compounds that calm inflammation, regulate oxidative stress, and support the enzymes that help shuttle minerals into tissues. This synergy is nearly impossible to replicate in a supplement. Leafy greens offer a different form of synergy. Their chlorophyll content binds magnesium at the center of the molecule, creating one of nature's most stable mineral complexes. When this complex enters the digestive system, enzymes release the magnesium in a slow, steady pattern that the body recognizes as safe, familiar, and easy to distribute into tissues. This is why individuals often feel a more grounded sense of calm or steadiness when they consistently include these foods. Nuts such as almonds provide another advantage. Their natural fats stabilize the release of magnesium and support cell membrane health. Healthy cell membranes are more responsive to mineral transport signals, meaning magnesium is more likely to enter and remain inside the cell rather than pass through unused. What all of these foods share is a remarkably low cost and a remarkably high biological intelligence. They are simple, unprocessed, and aligned with the way human physiology expects minerals to arrive. This is why they often outperform supplement formulas many times their price. When we talk about magnesium-rich foods working 4 times better than supplements, we are ultimately talking about metabolism. Magnesium is not just a mineral you take in. It is a mineral that dictates how your body produces energy, balances blood sugar, handles stress, and maintains long-term cellular resilience. To understand why the inexpensive foods we discussed are so powerful, we need to look at how magnesium interacts with insulin, mitochondria, and the overall metabolic system. Now consider the role of insulin. Magnesium helps receptors respond properly to insulin, allowing glucose to enter cells and be converted into energy. When magnesium is low, insulin receptors become less responsive. The body produces more insulin to compensate. This leads to higher circulating insulin, increased fat storage signals, and a sense of internal drag that individuals often describe as sluggishness. Here is the deeper insight. Whole foods that are rich in magnesium also deliver fiber, natural compounds, and slow-release nutrients that support insulin sensitivity alongside magnesium delivery. This creates a multiplier effect that supplements alone cannot provide. There is another layer to this story involving mitochondria, the energy generators inside each cell. Mitochondria require magnesium to produce adenosine triphosphate, the molecule that fuels nearly every biological function. When magnesium is delivered in its natural food-based form, the mitochondria receive a steadier supply, which supports more stable energy throughout the day. Magnesium in pill form often spikes and declines quickly, creating a pattern that does not match the needs of mitochondrial activity. Think of mitochondria as small engines. They do not function well with sudden surges of fuel followed by rapid depletion. They thrive on consistent, stable supply. Whole foods, especially seeds, nuts, and leafy greens, provide this rhythmic delivery. Supplements rarely do. There is also a relationship between magnesium and the nervous system that directly influences metabolism. Low magnesium heightens the stress response, which raises cortisol. Elevated cortisol, in turn, signals the body to store more energy and burn less. This is one of the reasons individuals under chronic stress often experience weight gain, cravings, or difficulty stabilizing their appetite. When magnesium-rich foods restore balance to this system, the body returns to a more efficient metabolic rhythm. What is important to recognize is that metabolism is not a single process. It is a coordinated network of energy production, hormonal signaling, cellular communication, and stress regulation. Magnesium touches all of these systems. When it arrives in the form your body is designed to recognize, everything from energy to focus to appetite becomes more stable. By this point in the discussion, one pattern should be becoming very clear. Low magnesium is almost never just a nutrient problem. It is a systems problem. This is the deeper reason why relying entirely on supplements can mislead people. A pill can raise the amount of magnesium passing through your digestive tract, but it cannot correct the underlying network of signals, hormones, and cellular behaviors that determine whether the mineral is absorbed, stored, and used. This is where whole foods hold a powerful advantage. Let me illustrate this with a simple analogy. Imagine magnesium as a skilled craftsman arriving to restore a building. The craftsman can only complete the work if the electricians, the carpenters, and the inspectors also show up. Whole foods bring the full team. Supplements send the craftsman alone. Even if the craftsman is very skilled, the absence of the team limits the amount of restoration that can happen. This is the reason supplements often give partial improvements, but rarely produce the full transformation individuals hope for. Another layer involves inflammation. When the body is inflamed, magnesium tends to leak out of cells more easily. Inflammation makes cell membranes rigid, altering the channels that minerals must pass through. Many of the inexpensive foods rich in magnesium, particularly seeds and leafy greens, contain natural plant-based antioxidants that calm this inflammatory environment. When the environment is calmer, magnesium stays in the cells longer. A supplement cannot achieve this because it does not address the inflammatory setting. It only adds more of the mineral into a system that may not be ready to receive it. There is also the matter of pH balance and digestive chemistry. Whole foods naturally adjust the environment of the digestive tract, creating a smoother pathway for mineral absorption. Supplements may deliver a higher dose, but the digestive system does not always fully cooperate. Without the natural fibers and plant compounds that guide minerals through the intestinal wall, the body often takes only a fraction of what is offered. The rest passes through unused. The final piece to understand here is that magnesium balance depends heavily on long-term patterns, not short bursts. Your cells need a stable rhythm of intake, a supportive metabolic environment, and the presence of natural cofactors. Whole foods fit into this rhythm effortlessly. Supplements often create spikes that do not match the body's preferred timing. This mismatch is why supplement-only strategies frequently fail to correct deeper deficiencies. By recognizing that magnesium is part of a network rather than an isolated nutrient, you begin to see why simple foods consistently produce better outcomes. They work with the body rather than trying to push through it. They support the mechanisms that hold magnesium in place. They restore the internal conditions that allow the mineral to function fully. When you approach magnesium this way, the confusion drops away and the results become much more predictable. This is the power of working with physiology rather than around it. Even after understanding how magnesium interacts with metabolism, cellular transport, and cofactors, many people still overlook a critical factor: timing and consistency. Magnesium is not a one-time fix. It is part of a rhythmic system in your body that must be supported continuously to achieve lasting effects. This is why the cheap, magnesium-rich foods we discussed are so effective. They provide a steady, biologically familiar supply that matches the natural rhythms of your physiology. There is also a compounding effect over time. Cells that consistently receive magnesium in a steady, natural pattern are better able to maintain mitochondrial function, regulate insulin sensitivity, and buffer oxidative stress. Sporadic supplementation may temporarily raise blood levels, but it rarely produces the cumulative improvements in cellular energy, metabolic stability, and stress resilience that are seen when magnesium comes from whole foods over weeks and months. Picture a series of interconnected gears representing your metabolism, hormonal balance, and nervous system. Magnesium is the lubricant that keeps these gears turning smoothly. Whole foods provide a consistent supply of lubricant at the right intervals. Supplements often deliver a single, high dose that splashes across the system but leaves the majority of gears running dry. Over time, consistent delivery from foods preserves function, prevents friction, and maintains energy efficiency throughout the body. Ultimately, the lesson here is that magnesium works best when it integrates naturally with your physiology. It is not simply about quantity, but about timing, consistency, and the context in which it is delivered. Whole foods provide the mineral in a form, rhythm, and environment that your body has evolved to recognize and use efficiently. By this point, it should be clear that magnesium is not just a single nutrient, but a central hub in the network that governs energy, stress, sleep, and metabolic stability. One final piece of the puzzle is understanding why so many people experience persistent symptoms even when they think they are doing everything right. The answer lies in the broader physiological context. Magnesium interacts with multiple systems simultaneously, and deficiencies often reveal themselves not as obvious medical crises, but as subtle declines in resilience and function. Another important factor is the synergy with cofactors and other nutrients. Magnesium in isolation can only do so much. When paired naturally with compounds found in seeds, nuts, and leafy greens, such as fiber, antioxidants, and trace minerals, it becomes more bioavailable, more efficiently absorbed, and more effectively retained in tissues. Supplements often provide magnesium in isolation, leaving out these supporting nutrients that are essential for full cellular uptake and long-term balance. This interplay has direct consequences for energy and longevity. When magnesium is effectively absorbed and retained, mitochondrial energy production improves. Insulin sensitivity stabilizes. Stress responses become more controlled, and sleep quality increases. Over time, these improvements create a ripple effect. Metabolism becomes more resilient. Fat storage signals decrease. Mental clarity improves, and recovery from stress and exercise becomes faster. All of these benefits occur naturally when magnesium is consumed in its most biologically compatible form. Ultimately, the science is clear. Restoring magnesium is not about chasing the highest dose or the most expensive pill. It is about working with physiology, supplying the mineral in a form and context the body is designed to recognize, and supporting the network of systems that allow magnesium to function fully. This is why simple, inexpensive foods can outperform premium supplements in producing real, measurable improvements in energy, metabolic function, and overall resilience. Here is a direct challenge for you. Try incorporating just one magnesium-rich food into your daily routine and observe how your body responds over the next week. Pay attention to your energy levels, sleep quality, mental clarity, and overall sense of balance. The key is consistency and awareness, because magnesium is not about a one-time fix. It is about restoring the systems that keep your metabolism, nervous system, and cellular energy running optimally.